Okay, what do we got? We got Crash and Burn, Dwayne the Rock Johnson from Yo Boy, a Critical Drinker. Okay, what is going on with the rack?
One thing I've learned from this series is that just like people, Hollywood meltdowns come in all different shapes and sizes. On
Yeah,
the one hand, there's the spectacular implosions of Joss Whedon and Brie Larson, who reached the height of fame and success only to fall from grace in dramatic fashion. On the other hand, there's the Rachel Zegler
which is kind of hilarious because the older I get, the less and less I care about like all actors, even the ones I used to like. It's just, uh, it's kind of, it's not here, it's not there, it's here nor there. I mean, even the good ones, everybody loves Keanu Reeves, right? Everybody loves Tom Cruise for the most part, right? If he's in a movie, is that gonna put my butt in a seat? Maybe when I was younger, but maybe not so much now.
of the world, whose egos far outshine their talents and accomplishments, killing their careers before they even get off the grounds. But there's another kind of crash and burn, dear viewer, a kind of slow motion train wreck where you can see the pieces falling off even as it keeps ploughing forwards until finally the whole thing derails and comes crashing to a halt. Which brings me neatly along to the story of Dwayne Douglas Johnson, better known as
His middle name's Doug. Oh, that's fine. That's a whatever name.
The Rock, a man who once dominated the box office with the same intensity as he ruled the wrestling ring, possibly the biggest and most marketable celebrity on the planet, who
Yeah,
seemed to be everywhere, doing everything.
yeah. I mean, tall, dark, handsome, jacked, charming, charismatic, kind of funny, kind of serious, halfway decent actor. I mean, the range of, acting, it's like, I don't give a shit. I mean, someone else can argue that. For the most part, he's pretty good.
And beloved by everyone. A man whose constantly upbeat, larger than life persona masks a hidden world of greed, ego, lies, and hubris. A
Yeah.
man so addicted to success and fame that it ended up consuming him. A man
I mean, to be fair, if I could, I would trade lies with him in a second. Are you kidding me? Easily. In a heartbeat, all right? I have no morals. Well, I'm gonna squabble away for the next what, until I get my little retirement from my job and my little 50, 60, 70K job a year. Oh, and you, like, if I could make a wish and just be like, flip it, yeah, I would do that in a second. Oh, I gotta do a movie, but I gotta do some steroids. Oh, all of a sudden I'm gonna grow some morals. Oh.
for whom the world itself was simply not enough. So join me for another episode of Crash and Burn as I tell you the Dwayne Johnson story. Dwayne
Oh,
Douglas Johnson was born in California in 1972, the son of wrestling legend
damn.
Rocky Johnson. And he wasn't the only wrestler in the family. His uncle, his adopted grandfather, and even his grandmother were all in the business, and it seemed like Dwayne was destined to follow them. He had different ideas though,
Dang.
and got into pro football instead. I mean, the guy was an absolute fucking unit,
Yeah.
6'5" and 250 pounds at like 18 years old, so who
Damn, I will never get that big, never get that tall, never get that much muscle. Woof.
can blame him? He was a good athlete for
What was that little tiny thin ass mustache? What was that?
sure, but he never quite reached the big time in football and finally got cut loose after 4 years in the sport. With no high school qualifications and not many other options, he turned instead to wrestling, used his family connections to fast track his way into the business, and made his debut in the WWE the following year, wrestling under the name Rocky Maivia. And on paper, at least, it seemed like a great idea. His dad had been a fan favourite, he was young and athletic, and he
Mm-hmm.
was wrestling as a babyface, the kind of guy
Oh
you're
yeah.
normally supposed to cheer for. And
I don't think I remember like day one of Rock, but I think I was like when I was watching WWF at the time, World Wrestling Federation. I'm trying to remember. I think I came in on like the era of like Stone Cold versus The Rock. I think maybe it was like Rock versus like Hulk Hogan. It's hard to like remember that far back.
Instead, it turned into a fucking disaster. The fans could smell a manufactured star a mile away, they hated his generic good guy persona, and the harder the WWE tried to push him, the more they
I don't.
rebelled
Was
against
that after
him.
that?
And when Dwayne was sidelined with a knee injury, it seemed like his wrestling career was over. Instead, he came back a few months later with a completely different personality,
Yeah, I think this was the part that I came in on.
playing a cocky, arrogant heel, calling himself The Rock. He shit-talked everyone around him, constantly referred to himself in the third person, and generally acted like he didn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, that was that now I remember. This was The Rock that I remember. I don't remember the good guy. I remember this one.
It was an inspired decision and an
And as a little kid, watching like someone like just like talk shit left and right, kind of like the Conor McGregor type vibes, that was like cool to me.
instant hit, tapping into the Attitude Era that was just kicking off at the time, and in the space of a few months, he went from one of the most hated wrestlers in the business to one of its most iconic superstars. He seemed to have a keen sense of what people wanted from him and the ability to reshape his persona to suit it. Keep that in mind, dear viewer, because it'll be important later. Things were going great in the WWE, but Dwayne's aspirations extended way beyond the wrestling ring. Just like Hulk Hogan before him, he wanted to get into the movie business, and after playing the bad guy in 2001's The Mummy Returns, he landed his first lead role in the spin-off The Scorpion King. Dwayne turned out to be a natural on the big screen, and the movie would go.
That was like the first movies he was in? Like I remember seeing this stuff, but I didn't know this was like his first movies. Huh. Yeah, these were not like the best.
Go on to make $180 million worldwide. Not bad for a first-time actor.
Wait, what?
Worldwide. Not bad for a.
Wait, how much?
Out to be a natural on the big screen, and the movie would go on to make $180 million worldwide.
Oh, 180 mil worldwide. How much did he get paid like his first time? What, like 5-10 mil or something like that? I don't know.
Not bad for a first-time actor. Unfortunately, this success wouldn't last. The next few years saw his career seesaw all over the place, doing everything from action to comedy, sports biopics to thrillers, and even Disney movies.
Yeah.
None of it was really working though. Most of
Yeah, he was like bouncing around and I was like, I'm not interested in that.
his projects either flopped or barely broke even. Just like his early wrestling career, he couldn't quite find the persona that worked for him. Was he supposed to be a tough, no-nonsense hard man, a family-friendly comedy actor, a commercial action star?
The Walking Tall movie, that was a good one. Oh, that was a good one he was in. I liked him in that one. But all those other ones, like I never watched them because I was like, that looks stupid.
A villain? A hero? Well, the answer finally came in 2011 when he joined the Fast and the Furious franchise, which itself was going through a bit of a redemption arc after struggling for years to figure out what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
His character.
This man is jacked in this one. He got that Chris Redfield arm going, you know? Like it's like the tricep is always like flexing. ABC always be flexing.
Luke Hobbs was an instant hit with fans, tapping into the same charismatic anti-hero persona that had made The Rock so popular in wrestling a decade earlier.
And what also this does is this sets a precedence. It sets like a framework for like wrestlers trying to get into movies. And I would imagine what that does is like it oversaturates that like market. So everybody's trying to be the anti-hero. Everybody's trying to be the heel. Nobody wants to be the good guy. Everybody wants to be the bad guy. Right? And then when you get into movies, just adopt that same persona that you have in the wrestling ring. And hopefully you're charismatic enough to, you know, carry you through it.
From then on, the Dwayne Johnson hype train was finally running at full speed, and a wave of big budget, highly successful action movies followed. For years, Hollywood producers had been looking for the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, the next definitive action star who would shape a whole generation of movies, and in Dwayne Johnson, it seemed they'd finally found what they were looking for. He was big and muscly, he was charismatic, he was marketable, he could navigate interviews and film junkets like a seasoned pro, he was cool enough to appeal to adults, but clean-cut and inoffensive enough to appeal to kids and families. He was somehow able to be everything to everyone and make it look easy. If Disney somehow made movie stars instead of movies, Dwayne Johnson is pretty much what they would churn out. And pretty soon, the fucking guy was literally everywhere. Movies, commercials, brand deals, wrestling appearances. He was always there with a tailor-made suit and $1 million smile, always excited to promote his next big project, always ready with some inspiring words, always waiting to sell you something.
Always waiting to go back to In-N-Out Burger for the first time.
But problems were afoot, dear viewer. The first signs of trouble came with rumours about his behaviour on the Fast and the Furious movies. By all accounts, he was a dominant presence on set. And
it was him versus Vin Diesel, and them like trying to flex their dicks on who was like more like important and like pinnacle to like linchpin type shit to the series. Vin Diesel. I think there was a moment where, what was it, on the first movie that they were in together, and then after that they were like bickering over like who was like the more well-known paid, like who was the highest paid actor or whatever. And I think at the time it was Vin Diesel by like a couple million. But then, you know, like who made the series? Was it Vin Diesel or The Rock? And then they had like some arguments or whatever over the direction of Fast and the Furious. Oh, we should navigate the story towards this way. We should navigate the story towards that way. Yeah.
Not in a good way. He wasted no time reshaping the movies to benefit himself, pushing for more lines and more screen time for his own character. He apparently had a clause in his contract that says he couldn't lose a fight, and he even got into
that's a meme. I mean it as that's a meme, as in that's like a fucking ridiculous ask. Where was this? My final week of shooting blowout. There's no other franchise that gets my blood boiling more than this one. Incredible hardworking crew. Where was that?
time for his own character. He apparently had a clause in his
Dwayne Johnson has a clause in his film contract that means his character can't lose a fight. He's just like invincible. Yeah. I mean, nobody really watches Fast and the Furious for like the realism of it. You know, it's like super speedy exotic cars, but like on steroids, right? It's like kind of silly car stuff, right? So it would stand to reason that much the same way the cars are like invincible, the cars can do like anything. Cars are getting shot up into space. Cars are doing like 360, 180 flips, turns, like what barrel rolls, front flip, back flip, whatever. It would stand to reason that the characters, whenever they have a fight scene, that they would also like to be like, you know, inherit some characteristics of a car and be like invincible. I can never lose a fight. I'm gonna take on like 20 guys in this fight and just be like, just walk away, right? But you contrast that to like another actor that does that. I mean, I think is the gold standard of fighting, which would be Jackie Chan. And you look at what he has done for fighting in movies, and there are some times where Jackie Chan's characters in some of his movies, like he loses the fight, but he loses the fight early, or like in the middle of a movie. But like during the end where it matters, like the climax of the movie, it's like, oh, that's where he wins, right? You have to see a character grow. You know, how is a character is supposed to grow if they never lose, right?
His contract that says he couldn't lose a fight, and he even got into a public feud with Vin Diesel and accused him of being lazy, entitled, and a complete pussy to work with. Naturally, this didn't gel too well with his smiling, easygoing public persona, and when he started taking heat for this post, he soon deleted it. Keep that one in mind too, because the theme of Dwayne retreating from a position the moment he senses it could harm his image would become a bit of a theme in the years ahead.
That's kind of funny to think about, that like the image of you is bigger than yourself. So much so that you have to retract things that you previously said in order to preserve that image that people have in your head. Yeah, I would still trade spaces with Rock any day of the week. If that was me, I would retract that statement and then go to In-N-Out Burger for the first time for like the 5th time and just do it again. That's what I would do.
The idea of him being an asshole on set would really come up during the filming of Red 1, where apparently he'd routinely show up late for filming with no explanation or apology. And I don't just mean 30 or 40 minutes late, I mean 7 or 8 hours. Jesus, that's basically an entire working day for normal people. These constant delays pushed back the schedule by weeks and added about $50 million to the film's budget. The weirdest thing about all this though was the piss story. Rather than just going to the bathroom to take a leak like a normal person, Dwayne insisted on pissing into plastic bottles right there on set and handing them off to the crew to deal with.
Bro, that's so weird. What the fuck? On set, away from his trailer, if he needs to pee, he doesn't go to the public bathroom. He pees in a Voss water bottle. Yeah, it would be that. I bet you he purposely gets the Voss water bottles because those are like the big ones, right? Yeah, of course. He pre-thought out, I gotta take this one because it makes it look like I got a lot of pee and I have a big dick. Yeah, that's probably. It wouldn't be like a regular water bottle, like a Zephyr Hills or something you get at Walmart. It's like, no, it's gotta be like, look at this. $3.50 for this one water bottle. Wow. Because it's like everything in my life has got to be big. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Still would trade places with him.
Pissing into plastic bottles right there on set and handing them off to the crew to deal with. Like, imagine that for a second. Imagine it's your first time on a film set, you're all excited about being part of the magic of movie making, and instead you find yourself hauling a leaky bottle filled with some asshole's urine. But that was only the beginning of Dwayne's problems. People were beginning to notice things about all those big budget action movies he'd been churning out over the years. He was basically playing the same fucking character in everything he did. Same personality.
It's kind of funny to think that he would do that if he wants to preserve the image of The Rock, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, if he wants to preserve that in like a public sense, while you're making a movie, it's still like in public, right? It might be like fenced off in order to like the general population of people can't see, but like only the people working on the movie can see, type shit, right? But it's still like public, kind of like a Discord server, like. Why would you want to like put your brand in jeopardy like that by peeing in a bottle and handing it off to someone? That's still the public. Would you do that if like 1,000 people were watching you? No? So then why would you do that on scene of like a movie set where there's like what, 20, 30 people watching you? That's weird. Do you not know, like, have any like social what do you call it? Social like conditioning? Like you don't know how to conduct yourself? Jesus, man.
same general character arc, even the same clothes half the time.
Hmm.
His movies were starting to be seen as the McDonald's Happy Meals of the film world, experienced by millions of people worldwide, but completely homogenous and forgettable. What had started out as charming and marketable was quickly becoming tiresome and predictable. The other thing people were realizing about Dwayne was that he lies a lot, often about the weirdest fucking...
Who doesn't lie a lot? Literally everybody lies, dude. Why are you looking towards anybody in the public space for truth?
Things like how many calories he eats per day, or claiming that he was visiting In-N-Out Burger for the first time 3 different times.
For the 3rd time.
Why would you even make something like that up in the first place?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was exposed in a multi-year lie in In-N-Out Burger, and it's as ridiculous as it sounds. I'm waiting eagerly for his statement on this. Bro, I hope he does it for a 4th time. I really hope he does it. He's got to do it again. He needs to like quadruple down on this shit, dude. Hey guys, just coming in, just popping in In-N-Out Burger for the first time. He needs to like quadruple down. He needs to.
Who even gives a shit if you go to a burger restaurant? On the subject of stuff that Dwayne was putting into his body, though, people were also starting to get a bit suspicious about his physique.
Yeah, because isn't he like 50 or 60 something? Still looking like an absolute massive muscle mass. Looking like getting more muscle as you age.
Despite the fact that he was hurtling towards 50, he seemed to be getting bigger and more muscular with each passing year, and well, people were not buying it anymore. Allegations of steroid abuse were running wild, and the more he tried to play it down, the more they seemed to ramp up. Now, remember what I told you about Dwayne tailoring his persona to match the situation? That kind of thing definitely worked in the early days of his career when nobody was around to fact check him, but in the days of the internet and social media, well, people were beginning to realize that instead of having his own...
Oh boy, and all the actors coming out of the woodwork and giving their little political opinions as if it could fucking sway me as an adult. Understandably, if I don't know what I would do if I was a little kid hearing all my favorite actors saying they're going to support one side. You know, I really don't know like what I would do. And how much like pull did it actually have over people during like the last election? I really don't. But I could tell you this, the older I get, the less it matters. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't care what actor gives their 2 cents on who they're voting for. You're an actor. You're just as knowing about any of the political mechanisms or ongoings as a regular person.
Opinions about stuff, he basically just said whatever he thought people wanted to hear. And if he got any kind of pushback, he'd immediately fold like a house of cards and backtrack. The worst example was probably his Joe Rogan interview in 2023, where he basically spent 3 hours giving evasive answers and reflecting the questions back at him. It was like Dwayne was the one doing the fucking interviewing, and it all fed into the public perception that nothing about the guy was real. He was more like a brand than a...
Yeah, I saw that interview, or that little episode. That was like one of the most boring things I could fucking listen to, dude.
Person, his every public appearance and sentiment carefully stage managed for maximum financial impacts. All was not well on the wrestling side of things either. See, ever since his jump to Hollywood, Dwayne had kept one foot in the wrestling business as a kind of part-time superstar. Anytime one of his movies flopped or he needed a bit of a career boost, he'd retreat back to the WWE for another run.
Business-wise, that's incredible that he could do that. Business-wise, that's amazing. That's a good business move. What do you want?
Make a ton of money and then leave again. That strategy had been working pretty well until he showed up in 2024 and shoved his way into the middle of a long-running feud between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. The fan backlash was so extreme that the WWE actually had to rewrite the whole storyline and put Cody back in center stage where he belongs. In typical fashion, Dwayne would later claim that the whole thing was part of a grand plan to make Cody even more popular.
I think I can smell shite.
a great clip.
Fuck off, Dwayne. Everyone could see him for exactly what he was now.
That's a massive diamond necklace, dude. That thing is huge. I don't think I'll ever make enough money in my lifetime to like buy this or even rent it maybe.
An aging superstar trying to hold on to the spotlight beyond his time, even if it meant screwing over younger and more deserving people. The biggest disaster though was 2022's Black Adam, which was supposed to be Dwayne's big entry into the superhero genre. He'd made no secret of the fact that he was taking control of the DCEU and reshaping it with himself at the centre, that he was going to do for DC what he'd done for the Fast and the Furious franchise and rehabilitate it.
Yes, I can definitely smell shite.
Well, that didn't work. The movie flopped big time and Black Adam was quickly buried along with the rest of the DCEU. The Rock's big push into the superhero genre was over before it even began. But that didn't stop Dwayne from desperately trying to cope about it, claiming that the movie was actually a success if you looked at it the right way.
Really?
Yeah, sure, buddy. Losing hundreds of millions of dollars and nuking an entire franchise is a pretty loose definition of success. And so we find ourselves in the year of our Lord 2025, where Dwayne Johnson has gone from the king of the Hollywood box office to a star in decline and a cautionary tale. He really is a perfect example of having too much of a good thing, that trying to please everyone ultimately ends up satisfying no one, and at the end of the day, all the fame and success in the world is no substitute for authenticity. I don't think he's a bad guy necessarily, and he's clearly done a lot of good things with his life and career. He just became so intoxicated by his larger-than-life persona and his desperate need to appeal to absolutely everyone that in the...
I mean, what's the net worth of The Rock? Dwayne The Rock Johnson net worth. I mean, shit, if I could appeal to everyone, I mean, I'll do that for 800 million. I'll do whatever the fuck you want for 800 million. I'll appeal to anybody for 800 million. Are you kidding me? I'll be whatever the fuck you want to be for 800 million.
In the end, it kind of consumed him. So what's next for The Rock? Is he going to bounce back, pivot and find a new path to success, or fade away into movie obscurity? Well, his upcoming film The Smashing Machine seems to signal a move away from generic big-budget action slop and maybe a willingness to take on more challenging roles that play against type. So who knows? The world does love a good redemption arc, and I don't think he's burned all of his bridges with audiences yet. But if there's one thing to take away from all this...
He needs to do the In-N-Out ad again.
Perhaps it's time for him to stop being The Rock and finally start being Dwayne Johnson. If he can do that.
I mean, I don't think so. Like, the Rock is like too big. The image of The Rock is just too big. He probably gets fucking bored, sick, and tired of people coming up to him every day. Oh, The Rock, hey, I saw you on wrestling, whatever. You're my favorite wrestler. Can you sign my wrestling thing? He has to be The Rock still. I think if he could like flip a switch and just be Dwayne, right? He would do that. And everybody would just say like, yo, what up, Dwayne? You know, I'm sure he could, but like, it's the massive amount of people that will not, that like The Rock, he is The Rock.
Perhaps there's still a way back for him. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Go away.
Sometimes
Go away.
One thing I've learned...
That's a good Vil video. What's the vibe? Everyone's feeling America's a country where entertainers are mistaken for people of importance. Yeah. You entertain, therefore you think you are important. You missed that fans really turned on him and Oprah when they did their Maui fire appeal. Two multimillionaires who could have handed over the amount as small change, asking ordinary people to fund an appeal to help victims of the fire. Oh yeah, anytime like rich people try to put up a front to like try to bring in money to like donate for this cause or whatever, Like, I'm just like, no. Fucking donate money to me, motherfucker. Fuck you. You could like donate like a couple million and just fix that shit yourself. You go do it. Like, no. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. All right, fuck out of here with that noise. Wow, you're Dwayne Johnson. It's an honor to work with you, sir. Here, bud, take this bottle of piss. Oh my god. What was going through his head? Like, I want to know, like, what goes through his head when he actually does that. Like, is there any possible way that I am, like, misconstruing this? Like, maybe it's, like, his personal assistant, and, like, his personal assistant knows that he is going to, or I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I would assume it's, like, a dude that's going to do that, because, like, it kind of be, like, some weird essay stuff, whatever, if it was, but, like, whatever. Well, maybe not essay, but, like, whatever. Yeah, that's just weird, dude. I never understood why they kept casting him. The vast majority of his movies were absolute bombs. I think he was like all right. Yeah, I got tired of him being everywhere. He was Pedro Pascal, or Pedro Pascal was with the Clippy. The shit he tried to pull with Oprah was really ruined. What really ruined The Rock for me. Yeah. I mean, hey, if you're rich enough to be on the Shark Tank and you are asking people to donate to your fucking favorite charity for whatever natural disaster happened, you're barking up the wrong tree. You are. Don't forget that Danny Trejo is basically the anti-Rock because he has in his contracts that if he plays a villain, his character must die by the end of the movie to show that crime doesn't pay. Oh, that's kind of funny. Like these guys have like this like most weird fucking contract deals. Oh my god, what's this one? Him and Oprah just pointed out how greedy out of touch they are with Hawaii. Yep. The fact that he has a contract specifically rule where he can't lose a fight under very specific conditions tells you everything. Yeah, it's stupid. Overall, cool video, man. Keep it up, dude. You're killing it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.